So I might be covering stuff that you're already familiar with, so I apologize, but I do want to touch on a couple of things that you might not have known. There's a special login for administrators, and that will have admin at the top. And then there's also a login for end users, and that's just going to be the login without admin in the URL. So your end users should, or your learners should log in through this page. Administrators can also log into this page if they have learner privileges. Otherwise, an administrator that is not in the system as a learner would only be able to log in through the admin area. But learners will log in through this page, and whenever they log in, they'll see training under My Courses that has been assigned to the user. And under Resume Courses, it'll have courses that the user has started but not completed. And under Catalog, these are courses that are available for self-enrollment. So they can click enroll and enroll themselves into that training if it's set up for self-enrollment.
Question, Dusty.
Yes.
If a user completed the training but they did not complete the survey, will it still show up under Resume Course?
It should, because it's not going to be complete until the evaluation has been completed. Does that make sense?
Yes, thank you.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so there is a close evaluation, and the user will not receive a completed status until the evaluation has been completed. That's something that is required by NERC. So yeah, they have to complete it to receive credit. And so on the right navigation, it's going to kind of mirror the information on the welcome page. You have a My Courses tab. The transcript tab is going to take the user to their transcript. They can print the transcript. The calendar tab. The calendar tab is going to have information with items that have due dates or instructor-led training. I don't think you're going to be using any of those unless you assign due dates whenever. For example, if you build a curriculum, and we can get into this in the admin area, but if there's a due date associated with that curriculum, then that due date will appear in the user's calendar. So they also have a profile tab. The profile tab will allow the user to edit their profile. And there's certain information that they can enter, such as their address and phone number. Certain information they cannot edit, such as their name and username and email. But they can also reset their password on this page. So if they click change password, they can enter their current password and then enter their new password. So if a user forgets their password, they can click the forgot password link, and it will require them to enter their email address. And I know that some of your users, you have their personal email address and their username. So in this case, it would be different. The username, I believe, would be their IID email address, and the email address would be their personal email or whatever they have in the system. So if you do have admin rights, you will see an admin link in the menu, or the navigation menu. And if you're in the admin area and you have learner rights, then you will see this learner link, and this will take you to the learner side of the LMS. And you'll also have that link in this dropdown for learner experience. But you have to be in the system as a learner. I'm not sure, Erica, if you're in the system as only an administrator. If you're in the system as only an administrator, you won't see the learner side link.
My name appears under users when the list is there, so I think I might be in there as a learner as well. I know that Glenn mentioned I would be able to take some of the trainings as well.
Yeah, so looking at the layouts of the pages, if you are looking at, for example, the course page, or if you're looking at the user page or any of the report pages, they all have the same type of layout. And because essentially what they are, they're functioning as reports within the system. So for example, this would be the user report page. The course page would be the courses report page. And you can filter this information. You can add columns to the reports. And so for example, if I decide okay, I'm not really using this job title column, so I'm going to uncheck that and it's going to remove that. But I want to see if this is an admin, so I'm going to check the is admin column so I can see who in the system is an administrator. So I'm going to create a new layout, and this icon on the right is your layout icon. So you can save anytime you have a report set in the way you like it, you can save that report. So I'm going to save a new report by clicking this new layout. I'll click create new report. And if I want this report to show up anytime that I come to this page, just click the star. And now anytime I come to this page, that is going to be the layout on this page. And another nice thing is whenever you log in and you come to the dashboard, there's a panel that's My Saved Report. So you can just click that link and it will take you directly to that report. So within each of these columns, we have filters. So all the information within the system can be filtered. And the columns and the filters are going to be specific to that type of data. So, so with first name, there are certain filters that are going to be relative to first name. Is admin, this is going to be, the filters are going to be specific to what options there are within admin. So there's either a yes or no option. I'm going to add a filter, and this is going to show me the administrators within your system. So if I go to your page, Erica, if I go to your profile and click account, it says learner, you're not set up as a learner in the system. You're only set up as an administrator. I know that there's a contract with the certain number of learners, and I'm not sure what that number is. That would be probably a Victor question. But you are set up as an administrator.
And to set myself up as the learner, is that something that I would be able to do, or because it's for myself, I would not be able to?
Well, you want to make sure that you, if you are within the contract agreement with the number of users and the number of learners, for example, this has,
yes.
This has 50 users. If you're in contract for 50 learners, then you can turn yourself on as a learner. But if you only have a contract for, let's say, 49 learners, then this would take you outside of that contract.
Right. And it's my understanding we have quite a bit more.
Okay. Yeah. So as an administrator, you have the ability to, you should have the ability to set yourself up as a learner. I'll go ahead and turn you on as a learner, but you also have
Yeah.
the ability to set administrators. Was there a question?
No, I was just going to say we have our contract has 150 users in it, learners.
Okay.
So we're well, yeah.
So save that. So looking at some of the things that you can do with users or users within the system, if you want to select more than one user, you can select these checkboxes. As a default, this is going to be set to 20. So if you need, for example, if you need to select several users on the page, it might be best whenever you save your layout that you set this to a higher number. So you're not going to have to switch between pages whenever you're selecting users. Reason being, if you have this set to 20 users per page and you select X number of users on the first page and click to the second page, it's not going to keep that first page selection. So on the far right, there's the action panel. And this is going to tell you what type of actions you can create for whatever you're doing within the system. So on the user page, I have several users selected. So some of the things I can do, I can send a message to all the users. I can activate or deactivate users. Reset password. So if I want to send a reset password email to all of these users, then this is how I would do that. If I enter new users into the system, or I want to send a new user email to the user, then all I have to do is select send new user message, click send, and they'll receive the new user email. And this is the format of the email they'll receive. So you can go in and you can edit this if you like.
Now, is there any way to go back and see once we've sent these, because I've sent a few, to go back and see which ones we've sent them to? Or is that just something you can access?
It's something that only I can access. So if you have a question about an email being sent on a certain date, I can look that up. We do have a record of emails that are sent, but it's something that we just receive a blind copy.
Okay.
So it goes into, for me, it goes into a folder that kind of sends a copy of every email sent within the system. So it can be, it's quite a lot of emails. So if there's something that you're looking for example, if it's a username, let me know and I can try to pull records for it.
Okay.
So,
Oh, quick question,
yeah.
just to follow up. So when they are signed up or signed up for courses or even just signed up to have access to MarTech, we have to manually send them, click to send them an email notification?
Well, there's yes and no. It really depends on how you are setting up the users. So are you going to be interested in setting users up in the system yourself?
We'll do that every now and then, yeah.
Okay,
we'll
so
probably add a user here and there.
So there are a couple of different options that you have. Well, at first would be sending the information to me and I can import the information. So if you notice, there's in the actions panel, if you don't have anything selected, you have the option to add new user or import users. To add a new user, you are entering in their information. One important thing, if they're if they have an operator ID, this has to be entered. Otherwise, they will not come up in the report that I send to SOCED on Mondays. And then the messages tab. So this is going to send the user a message that they've been entered into the system. It'll send that new user email. I do not send those emails, mainly for the reason I don't like sending users emails unless they have training and the training assigned. And so what I'll do is I'll add the user into the system, either an individual user or import the user and bypass the email. Then once I have the training assigned to the users, I'll come and use the reset password option and then send new user message. That way they'll receive the email, and then whenever they log in, they'll see that they have training assigned. Does that answer your question?
Yes, and you do it through the reset password, you said?
Yes. Whenever you select a user, there's a reset password button. And this will send the email to the user that will allow them to reset their password, but it also will send the new user email if you want.
When you were on that screen a minute ago, on the right-hand column where you have all the options, there was one that said send message. Is there a way to do a message another way?
Yes, you can message users, and this is going to be a blank message box. I don't use this a lot because it is a blank message box. So of course, you can use this if you want. But one thing I like about the other option, like sending the new user email, is that it's template based. So for example, if I send this new user message, I have all of these links that will auto format the email. And you'll see I'm using these such as LMS link, and that will send a link to the learning management system. Company name, company email, company phone, that's going to be my contact information. And you can certainly change this out if you want. So if you don't want this contact information, then you can enter whatever you want.
What we've been doing, Erica, is and once we get Andy's set up, and I've got a few changes on that too to discuss with Erica. What we do, Erica, is we'll sign them up for the classes, enroll them, and then I do two things. I'll send them an email from the system here for new user, like Dusty was just showing us on the password reset page. I checked the new user box, and so they receive that email, which includes their login information, which is their username, and it goes to their email address, which some of them, as you know, are their home addresses right now, and their username is their IID email address. And then the second thing I do, that way they get the login information from the MarTech system. And the second thing I do is from my IID email address, I send them an email saying that they will receive an email from the MarTech system, or they should have received an email from the MarTech system with their login information, that they've been signed up for training and so forth. And I'll go through that with you as far as how we've been doing that. So I'm just kind of waiting for this to do that, but we'll step through that after this training. And I've got a few for you to enroll. So.
Okay, great. Thank you, Glenn.
Yeah.
Yeah. So going back to some of the other options that are available on this page, you can enroll users into training. So if you just click enroll users and then click add courses, the courses that you'll be adding are going to be under NERC SOCED. And So whenever you log in and click that link, it should show up for you. I'm not sure why it's not showing up for me. I must be missing a permission somewhere. Yeah, so whenever you come to this page, you'll scroll down to NERC Soc Ed and click the this arrow, and it will expand the folder and all the courses will be listed. If you click this box, it's going to select every piece of training within that folder. With regards to the NERC Soc Ed training, it's not so bad because it's only 50 items of training. But in some of these folders, you're not going to see information in these other folders because you don't have the rights to at that level. But you should have the right to see the NERC Soc Ed training. Yeah, so you add the training and click enroll, and it will assign the training to those users. Another option that you have, let me touch on one more. Go ahead.
One note on that, Dustin, excuse me. What I noticed is, you know, because I have the operators are going through and finishing at different times. So, and one group of courses had overlapped with another group of courses because I have distribution and system operators. And I did notice that on one of them, and I selected courses that an operator had already completed. And once I realized this, well, I probably have to go and unenroll them to that new enrollment. But what I found is the system hadn't enrolled them in the course the second time. So that I just wanted to point that out for Erica. So if you try and enroll someone in a course that they've already completed, it looks like the system doesn't allow that. So just a note there.
That's good to know. Thank you.
Well, there is the option, if you click a user and then view enrollments, it's going to show what training the user is enrolled in. And this happens to be one trainee that is not going to receive credit until they complete the evaluation.
Right.
So anyway, this user's in progress. I can unenroll that user, and then it will allow me to re-enroll. Or if you click re-enroll, it will reset their enrollment information.
Okay, so then they would be able to take it twice?
Yes.
Okay.
It'll move them into not started status.
Okay.
And then also there's the edit enrollment option. If you click edit enrollment, you can, for example, mark a user complete. So if you reset a user's information that was complete and you're like, oh, didn't mean to do that, you can go in and mark them complete, set a date and a score, and then click save. And looking at, you have these records down below, and it's going to show you the attempts for each one of the courses. So if I click back and do not save, say I open this, go to edit enrollment, and go to the bottom, I'll see that, okay, this user has been in the course this many times, and this time scored a 46, this time scored a 69.
Okay,
so
where did you get to this? Where did you get to this at?
It's at the bottom of the enrollment information for a course. So looking at the user enrollments, if you click on the course, go to edit enrollment, it's going to be at the bottom of the page. You just click this arrow and it will show the information. Another way to get there, actually I want to touch on one more thing on the user page. So I want to show you how to edit user information. So you can click on a user, click edit user, and there's an option to define a temporary password for a user. So if a user comes to you and says, hey, I've tried the reset password option and it's not working for me, you can come here and you can reset, or you can enter a temporary password for the user. You will have to communicate what that temporary password is, though. And if there's an issue with their socket ID, you can come here and check that. If they do not have a socket operator ID, then they will not be reported to socket for completions.
Okay.
And if anything is in a pending status, it will not be reported. So,
So basically,
yeah.
Basically, each Monday, the system you have it set up to where it recognizes which ones have been completed and reports those. Is that correct?
Yeah, I'll pull a system-wide report for anyone that has an operator ID and anyone that has moved into a completed status for a training, and they have a score of 80 or above. And then I report that information to SOCED.
Okay.
Excuse me, I'm sorry. So
Sure.
the way you're able to pull that report so that you can see anything that's been completed, is there a way for me to be able to pull a report on a daily basis of what was completed without having to go into each individual person's record to look?
I'll touch on that whenever I get to reports, if that's okay.
Oh, okay, sure.
So yeah, so looking at courses, I just want to touch on the courses real quick. So you'll have access to, you should have access whenever you come to this page, all of the NERC courses. Some courses are only going to allow you to enroll users. And if you, do you think you'll be creating curriculum? Do you want me to show you how to create a curriculum?
No, we're not going to be doing that on this LMS.
Okay, so just individual courses. Okay.
Yeah.
So, so yeah, if you select a course or courses and select enroll users, then you can select the users that you want to enroll, and then click enroll, and it will enroll the users for this training. So if I select a specific course and view course enrollments, this is going to show the users that are enrolled in this course, and I can filter. This probably isn't one of your trainings, but yeah, I don't have one of the, have any of your users taken the safety courses that we offered?
Yeah, some of them took the cold flu, and a couple of those I signed them up for. Okay.
Yeah, so I see you you completed this, so I can go to edit enrollment, just like I did on the individual enrollment page, and like I can look to see your attempts and scores and how much time you spent in it. So that's a second way to get to this page. There is a third way. There's so starting to touch on the reports. There, as I stated, each one of these are going to be a report within themselves. So if I wanted to look and see the users that are enrolled or have completed this training, I can view course enrollments. And this is going to be a report for this specific piece of training. And I can set a filter to complete if I want, and then it will show all the users that are complete within this training. Now, looking at the individual reports and what we have, learner activity is going to list an overview of all your learner activity. So it's going to show how many enrollments, how many courses they've started and then completed, how many credits they've earned. And the credits for the NERC courses should be directly associated with the CEHs. So this user completed 2 courses for 2.5 credits. So if I go to view the enrollments, and I'll see that there's 1 credit associated with this, which is in pilot, and 1 or 2 that's associated with this, which doesn't really add up. And then looking at learner progress, I can select individual users and see the similar information, view enrollments. Course activity, this is going to require me to pick a specific course. So going back to your question, Erica, there's not a complete report in the system as of yet. Now what happens is at the end of the week, usually Saturday night, the system pulls a complete system-wide report, and I have access to that report as a super administrator of the system. And I can send that report to you on Monday morning, filtered down to your users. And then you'll be able to look at what is happening. But unfortunately, this report only pulls on Saturday night. So in terms of a report that is going to have every piece of information in the system, right now there isn't one, and we've strongly suggested that they develop one, and there is one that they are working on, but it's not available yet.
Okay, thank you.
Mm-hmm. So I'll send that to you. I can send you one this afternoon, but it will only be information up to last Saturday.
That's okay. What it is I'm already putting together a report for daily progress. So
Okay.
I don't think I'll need the weekly. By the end of the week, I will have already reported each day.
So
But
you don't
thank
want
you.
You don't want the report?
I don't think I need it. Thank you, though. I do appreciate that.
Okay. Well, if you decide you want one report that has all the information, then just let me know.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm. So course activity, this is going to be specific to courses, and unfortunately I only have these courses available to report on. Course summary. And then curricula, you're not using curricula. Evaluations are something that there are courses, these courses do have evaluations, so you could essentially pull reports on how the courses are being evaluated if you're interested in that. But none of the courses that are in the system right now have evaluations turned on except for the NERC courses, and I'm unable to pull those NERC courses for this training. So I do want to cover importing users into the system. So are there any questions at this point or up to now?
No.
Okay. So to import users into the system, we don't need a lot of information. We'll have to create a spreadsheet. Can you see my spreadsheet?
Yes.
Yes.
So we'll need this information at least. An email address and user ID is not going to be separate. So, so you can only import one or the other. I know that some of your users are using their work email as their user ID and their personal email as their email. That is something that you would have to, you'd have to choose one or the other and then go in and manually change it, change the opposite one after they've been entered into the system. So you enter this information, and I'm going to save this as a CSV file. And then you come to user import and choose file. And this is going to open up the file manager. So we'll click the upload button to upload our file to the file manager. And then once it uploads, we click select this file. And this is going to be the import user dialog. So first thing we'll have to do is define what is going to be the LMS username. So this is going to be based upon the email address. And then we have to make sure that these fields are mapped. So email is mapped to email, first name, last name, password. Socket ID, we want to scroll down and choose socket operator ID so that information is mapped correctly. And there's also an option for send new user email. Like I said, I don't usually select this, and I send the emails after training's been assigned, but that's pretty much all you have to do. If you click validate, it's going to validate the information, and it will tell you whether or not there are errors in the system. And if there aren't any errors in the system, then this will be green. And all you have to do is click load, and that will load the users to the system. So pretty simple. And this would be used if you have several users that you want to enter into the system and you don't want to enter each one individually. So if you have groups of trainees, I do want to show you how to create a group. So you can select the users that you want to put into the group and then click create group. And then we'll call the group whatever we want. And click save, and it will create a group for those users. You could also, I'm not going to save that group. I will create a group for administrators. So I'm going to add an is admin. Actually, it's already there. Change this to yes. And I'm going to create a group, and this is going to be called IID admins. Click save. Now, whenever you create a layout for a report or something, or anything you create a layout for, if you want to share that, there are other options across the top here that we did not cover. So if we want to share the report, this can only be shared with groups. So we would select our group name. Then any users that are within this group will be able to see this report whenever they come to this page. It will be under their saved layouts. We can schedule the report. So if we want this report emailed to us, let's say weekly on Sunday, then we say we want it Excel format, and we can enter the email address, or we can email a group such as IID admin, and then those admins will receive that report on Sunday. We can print the report, and we can also export the report to Excel or as a CSV file. So we have a few more minutes left. Are there any other questions or anything that you want me to cover or spend more time on?
One
You know, I have
question. Oh, sorry, Glenn.
No, go ahead, Erica.
When creating a group, that doesn't alter the master list of users, right? They're still on that list. You're just creating a separate group for when you want to view them on their own?
Yes, exactly. So if you go to the group page, go to users and groups, unfortunately, the system does not limit the view of groups based upon who created the group. You're going to see all the groups in the system. You're just not going to see users in a group that, so if you view the users of this group, you won't be able to see the users. And I was already in that group. So yeah, if you want to have any actions with the group, so if I go to IID admins, where is that group? Here it is. Then I can send messages, I can view the users, and then I can do other actions such as enrolling the users. So one thing that groups will be used for, if, for example, if you were going to build a curriculum, you could define visibility or self-enrollment rules based upon the group name. But if you're not using curriculum, then it wouldn't be relevant. Another learning object that's available is the course bundle. And if you're going to be assigning bundles of courses to groups often, then you could create a special course bundle. And add your courses to that bundle. And the availability, you can set automatic enrollment. So whenever you select your group, whenever I save this, any users that are enrolled in this group will automatically receive this training. And also with self-enrollment. The self-enrollment is going to allow users to enroll themselves via the catalog. So what that would look like, if you have an automatic enrollment, it's going to force the training to show up in My Courses. If you have it set up for self-enrollment, it's going to show up under catalog. And then they can search for it and enroll themselves into that training. Was there another question?
Yeah, on one of the things that I like to do is look at the feedback from the folks taking the courses. their evaluations. Is there a way to do that easily, where I can just run a report and kind of see? Basically, what I'm looking for is are they rating one particularly low? Are they rating, you know, something that would be out of the norm that I'd want to take a closer look at and see if they were having trouble with the course or something like that?
Sure. Yeah. Let me log in as myself, and I'll go to the report tab and go to course evaluations. And I'm going to try what's one of the NERC courses that several users have taken?
The distribution. I think there's a few there, but
Do you have a course number?
let me look one up here. Yeah, try the 301-02.
So you can see the average responses from your users. And these are based upon the individual questions that are within the evaluation. So if you view the evaluation answers, so for example, if you want to look at overall or rate your overall experience, you can see that some users aren't filling this in, or many users aren't filling this in.
Right.
We can filter this. You should have this limited to your department, but I'm seeing all departments. Yeah, so you've got a couple of users that said it's excellent, and then 9 out of 10. So this would allow you to, I see you gave one course a rating of 1. Yeah, so this gives you the opportunity to evaluate the evaluations.
Okay, yeah, that helps.
Any other questions?
That was it for me.
Okay. Well, I will have this training posted. Do you have any questions, Erica?
Oh, no, I'm good. Thank you. Oh, actually, when they're rating, it's a range from 1 to 5?
5, 1 to 5, yeah.
Yeah, so if you, if you finish a course, you should be able to see the evaluations. I should be able to show you the evaluations here. Let me see. Yeah, so this is the evaluation, and yeah, it's a rating type. So all of these are rating. The overall experience, and change that to rating as well. And then providing additional comments about the training, that's open text. But all of these others are going to be based upon a rating. So I will post this training and I'll send you the YouTube link. And if you have any questions about anything, please let me know. Feel free to email me or call me, and I'm more than happy to help in any way I can. if you need a full detailed report, just let me know and I can get that report to you.
Okay. Well, thank you very much, Dusty. Thanks for your time and all the information.
All right.
Thank you.
Very helpful.